Ever picture yourself like way down deep underground, running a team responsible for tons of ore, high-tech gear, and everyone getting home safe?
That's the life of a mind shift manager.
Talk about pressure, right?
Definitely. If that sounds like your kind of career, though, you're in the right spot.
This deep dive is all about prepping you to ace that interview, and we're using RoleCatcher's career and interview guides to do it.
We're going way past the usual interview tips, digging into those real questions they hit you with, what they're actually trying to figure out about you,
Okay, and
and how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a serious edge.
love it. So, mining, it's not just picks and shovels anymore, is it? Big-time tech involved now. What does that mean for someone who's aiming for that mind shift manager role?
It's a career, not just a clock in, clock out kind of thing. We're talking drones, mapping out tunnels, AI, making sure they're pulling out the most ore. It's high level. But here's the deal. It's demanding long hours are practically guaranteed. Stress levels can be through the roof, and obviously it's a hazardous environment. The interview is their way of seeing if you've got the guts and the brains for it.
Makes sense. They want to know you can handle it.
Yeah.
But high demand usually means good pay, job security. Those are nice perks, too.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into the interview hot seat itself, let's break down what those interviewers are really looking for beyond the resume bullet points.
They want to know if you've got the skills, for sure, but also the mindset to thrive in that environment. Imagine they ask, tell us about your experience working in mining. Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah, straightforward.
But they don't just want a list of places you've worked.
It's more like, prove you'd actually want to be here, not just chasing a paycheck. Is that it?
Exactly. Did you step up, learn new stuff on your own, maybe even go that extra mile in your past roles? Show them this isn't just any job to you, that you're genuinely into this field.
And that's where I think RoleCatcher can be a total game changer. Their AI resume analysis is like peeking into the recruiter's head before you even walk in the door.
It's true. RoleCatcher can actually show you how your resume would score on those applicant tracking systems. You know, the AI gatekeepers a lot of companies use these days. Helps you optimize it so you don't get screened out before a human even lays eyes on it.
That's huge. Okay, so you've impressed them with a resume, you're face-to-face, it's interview question time. Let's dive into some common ones. How do you prioritize tasks and manage your time effectively?
Ah, that one, they want to see if you can handle the heat. Mining is all about deadlines, and let's be real, things rarely go exactly as planned down there. They need to know you can juggle multiple things at once, manage your time, and not have a meltdown when things get tough.
No pressure, right? But seriously, how do you make your answer to that question stand out?
Think back to a specific time you had competing priorities, maybe even in a high-stakes situation. Did you use any particular methods, tools, anything like that? How did you make sure everything got done on time and met the standards? Being specific, giving concrete examples, that's key.
Don't just say you're organized, prove it.
Exactly.
And this is another spot where RoleCatcher's AI comes in. It can actually give you feedback on your answers, tell you if it's strong enough or needs more meat to it.
It can even suggest industry-specific examples you might not have thought of on your own. It's like having a personal interview coach in your pocket.
Okay, that's amazing. Speaking of pressure, mines have their fair share of unexpected problems, right? Equipment failing, accidents, you name it. How do you handle a question like, how do you handle difficult situations or conflicts at work?
That one goes straight to your conflict resolution skills. Mining is a huge team effort, and things can get tense, especially when stress levels are high.
So saying, I'm a people person, probably isn't going to cut it here.
Probably not. Think about a time you faced a conflict head-on. What did you do? Did you actually listen to everyone's side? Did you find a solution that worked for the team? And most importantly, how did you make sure safety stayed the top priority the whole time?
Because, let's be real, safety in mining, that's non-negotiable. It's got to be part of everything you do. Speaking of which, how do they even judge someone's attitude towards safety in an interview?
Often they'll just come right out and ask. Something like, can you describe your approach to safety and risk management? They don't want to hear you just follow the rules, though.
So what are some key things to focus on in your answer?
Be specific. Mention any safety training or certifications you have, especially something like the MSHA certification. That carries weight. Talk about a time you spotted a potential hazard and actually did something to fix it before it became a problem. Show them you're proactive, that you care about this stuff.
So you've covered safety. You've shown you're not going to freak out when things go wrong. What about the tech side? Mining is getting more and more automated. How do they figure out how much experience you have with all that?
That's where those career stages that RoleCatcher's career guide lays out come in handy. As you move up that ladder from entry level to shift manager, the systems you're dealing with get way more complex. The interview will reflect that.
So if they ask, can you describe your experience working with mining equipment and technology? What kind of details should you be ready to talk about?
Specific machinery you've operated, software you've used, even automation experience if you've got it. Have you worked with drones, remote sensing, data analysis? Those are all in high demand in today's mines.
The more tech savvy you are, the better equipped you are, literally.
Exactly. And don't forget the certifications. A Mindshift Manager certification, for instance, shows you're serious about professional development.
Okay, we just covered experience, time management, conflict resolution, safety, 80 tech skills. That's a lot. But there's more to being a Mindshift manager than just technical know-how, right?
Absolutely. They're going to be looking for those leadership qualities too. You're going to be responsible for a whole team, making tough calls, making sure everything runs smoothly.
Sounds like it's about time we dig into the leadership part of the interview. Let's take a quick breather, and we'll be back in a flash with more insights and tips on how to prep for those all-important leadership questions. Don't go anywhere.
Ready to keep digging?
You bet. We're just about to get into the leadership side of the Mindshift Manager interview. What kind of questions should people be ready for on that front?
One they often use is, can you describe a time you had to make a tough decision as a Mindshift manager? Or something along those lines. They're trying to see if you can handle pressure and make the hard calls, even when there's no easy answer.
So it's story time again. But what makes a good story in this case? Like, what makes a difficult decision story stand out?
It's got to showcase how you actually make decisions. Did you get all the info you could, talk to your team, your superiors, whoever was relevant? How did you weigh up the risks and the benefits, especially when it came to safety? And importantly, how did you explain your decision afterwards? And what was the result of all that?
It's about taking ownership of your choices, good or bad. Even if it didn't work out, interviewers want to see that you can look back, learn from it, adjust for next time.
Exactly. And it scores extra points if you can connect that difficult decision back to safety or another core value that matters in mining. Shows you get the priorities in that line of work.
And if someone's drawing a blank on how to structure that kind of answer, that's where RoleCatcher's AI feedback can be a lifesaver.
Absolutely. You can practice your answer, even record yourself with their video feature and get personalized feedback on how you're coming across. It's like a mock interview with an AI coach who can pinpoint exactly where you need to work on it.
Okay, that's seriously cool. So you've proven you can make decisions under pressure. Now you got to show them you can rally the troops. What about questions that are all about motivating and inspiring a team?
This is where they might hit you with something like, how do you motivate and inspire your team to achieve their goals and objectives? And again, it can't just be surface level.
Right, I'm a great motivator isn't going to cut it.
Exactly. Think about what kind of leader you are. Are you collaborative? Do you lead by example? Are you a really strong communicator? Give them specific times you motivated a team in the past.
And it always hits harder if you can tie it back to mining specifically. Like, how would you motivate your team to hit those production targets while also upholding those super important safety standards?
Great point. That shows you can connect the dots between leadership, productivity, and safety, which is crucial for a Mindshift manager.
So we've covered a ton of ground here, but I feel like there's always more to learn, especially in an industry that changes as fast as mining. How do you figure out if someone's actually committed to constantly learning and improving?
That's a big one they'll definitely want to know about. A common question is, can you describe your approach to continuous improvement in mining operations? They're not just looking for someone who can do the job now. They want someone who's always looking for ways to do it better, safer, more efficiently.
So it's not enough to just say, I'm a lifelong learner.
Nope. Think about actual methodologies you've used like lean management, which is all about cutting out waste and maximizing what you get out of everything. Have you applied that to improve how things work, reduce downtime, even boost safety?
It's showing them you're proactive, that you don't just wait for problems to come to you, and that you're thinking analytically about how to make things better.
Exactly. And don't be shy about getting specific. Did you bring in a new training program that actually cut down on safety incidents? Did you streamline a process so that productivity went up? Measurable results, those are what really impress them.
And if those specific examples aren't coming to mind, RoleCatcher's AI can jump in with suggestions, right?
Totally. It looks at your answers and can suggest relevant industry examples to make your points even stronger. It's like having a whole encyclopedia of mining best practices right there on your phone.
That is insanely helpful. Okay, so you've wowed them with your dedication to constant improvement, but the learning doesn't end there, does it? The mining industry is always evolving. New tech, new rules, new everything. How do you show them you're keeping up with all that?
That's where professional development comes into play. They might ask something straight up like, how do you stay up to date with industry trends and developments?
So reading mining magazines, going to conferences, that kind of thing?
Yep. Mention specific publications, websites, any conferences or organizations you're part of. But take it a step further. Did a recent article really make you think, or is there a new technology you're dying to learn more about? Tell them.
It's about genuine enthusiasm, showing them you're hungry to learn and grow in this field.
Exactly. And this might be a good time to mention RoleCatcher again if you've been using their career guides or skill guides to prep for this interview. Shows initiative.
Subtle brag. I like it. Okay, we've covered a mountain of material. Experience, time management, handling conflicts, safety, those tech skills, decision-making, leadership, continuous improvement, staying up to date. It's been a lot.
It has. But we're not quite done. There are still a couple more things about being a mind shift manager that interviewers are going to want to know about, and we'll jump into those right after this quick break.
And we're back, digging deeper into what it takes to ace that mind shift manager interview.
No time to rest yet. We've still got some important ground to cover.
Okay, you've got me hooked.
Yeah.
What haven't we covered yet about the mind shift manager role?
Well, we've talked about handling tough situations, those conflicts that pop up, but what about those real curveballs? Those moments where things go sideways and there's no playbook? Interviewers want to know you can adapt on the fly, think on your feet, all that.
So how do they test for that in an interview?
One way is by throwing a curveball your way. Literally. They might say something like, imagine this, you're deep underground, equipment suddenly malfunctions, and it's putting production behind. What do you do?
Oh, okay, so it's problem-solving time, game on.
Exactly. And it's not about having the right answer, really. It's about how you approach the problem. Do you try to gather as much info as possible? Figure out what needs to happen first. Delegate tasks if you need to.
So they're watching how you think under pressure, how you make decisions with maybe not all the information.
Exactly. And don't forget, safety is still priority number one, even in those unexpected situations. Make sure your actions, your thought process reflects that.
That makes sense. You've tackled their curveball. You've shown you're a leader. What else?
The big picture. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, but mining isn't just about pulling resources out of the ground. It's about doing it responsibly, thinking about the long term.
The environmental impact.
Bingo. They might ask, how do you incorporate sustainability into your work as a mine shift manager? Or, what are your thoughts on the environmental impact of mining in general? Something along those lines.
You want to know you're not just focused on the bottom line, but also aware of the environmental impact and how to do things right.
Absolutely. Have you been involved in waste reduction programs, energy efficiency measures, environmental monitoring, any of that? If so, talk about it.
It's about showing them you can balance efficiency with environmental responsibility.
Exactly. And if the company you're interviewing with has specific sustainability initiatives, even better. Weave those into your answers, show them you've done your homework and you get it.
It's about more than just being a manager. It's about being a leader who understands the big picture. Right.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
We've covered so much today. Interview questions, what they're really asking, how to make your answers shine, even how RoleCatcher's AI can be your secret weapon throughout the process. So to all you future Mindshift managers out there, we're rooting for you. This industry needs leaders who aren't just skilled and knowledgeable, but who care about doing things the right way, safely, responsibly, all of it.
And with the right preparation, the right mindset, we know you can make it happen.
That's a wrap on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and best of luck in those interviews.